What is up, everybody? Welcome back to VogelStang. Thanks for checking out this video. So today we're going to be doing some anchor room tint install. So on the taillights here, I've already done some of them. If you can tell, there's a difference between this taillight and this one. This one has the anchor room taillight tint on it. This one has some unknown taillight tint on it. I'm not sure who made it, as it was already on there when I got the car, but as you can tell, it's bubbling up a lot on this pretty difficult bevel here. So we're going to remove these and replace it with the anchor room tint, and also talk about you know, if you run into that situation, what you can do. So I've actually done this side already, and as you can tell, it's already bubbling up. So I have somewhat of a solution for that that I've done on this one and this one, and it seems to work. We'll see how it lasts long term. You know, this is not perfect, but it looks decent, looks good enough, and I'll see how it lasts, because I do like the look of the darker tint rather than like a complete blackout. The blackouts do look cool, but I do like the hint of, just a hint of red coming through here. It looks pretty nice, but if this doesn't work out, I will probably go the blackout way. Not the full blackout that is just like a single piece, that not really crazy about, but the individual piece blackouts, because I do like the styling of the taillights. So they make a couple different blackout options, and one of them just kind of is a flat black plastic piece that covers this, which, you know, then you lose the styling back here, and I don't really like that. So but anyway, that's only if this doesn't work out. So we're gonna rip these off, and you know, we're gonna have to clean them up, because these tint films here leave quite a bit of residue on the taillight. So I'm not going to film that, because it's just kind of like a tedious process. But as you would get off like any kind of glue, you're just going to use some goof off or some sort of you could use like goof off or something like that, just to get these off, just to get the residue off there. So now you can see what the difference between a non-tinted taillight I got three different colors: non-tinted taillight, unknown tint, anchor room tint. All right, so we got this all nice and clean, and make sure there's no particles or anything left on there. We're gonna hit it with the application fluid, which is just some window film application solution. You could probably also make your own if you want to. You just have to look it up, but I'm gonna hit that pretty good. We'll peel off our window film and hit that with the solution as well. You want to do this on the sticky side, and we'll try to find its nice positioning here where we want it to sit. And to me, that looks pretty good. Really, the application fluid is only just to get it so you can move it around so it won't stick to the taillight or wherever you're applying it. You don't want it to stick while you try to position it. So that the application fluid is really just kind of like a little bit of slippery solution that allows you to move it around while you figure out where you want it. Once you do that, make sure that you hold it in place, peel it back, and just spray away that solution. Make sure not to move the tint after you found the spot that you want it to be in when you're trying to clean it off. And once you do that, You get all the solution off, come back with your squeegee and start squeezing the water out from inside. Paying attention to the film, making sure that you don't have any significant bubbles. Unfortunately, sometimes they're not too noticeable until a little bit after. So and by the way, this is not an expert advice type of video, or this is definitely not a this is 100% the way to do it type of video. This is going to be more of a here's how I did it and it came out okay, and maybe you can learn something, maybe you can notice something that I'm doing wrong. I'm not saying whatever I'm doing is the perfect way to do it. I've tried doing this several times, wrapping stuff and doing tint film like this, and it never comes out perfect for me. But I do know, I can tell you this, that without a doubt, doing wraps and doing window tint or any kind of tinting film, you get better as you practice and the more you do it. So even though mine is not going to be perfect, I feel I'm learning a little bit each time I do it, and kind of learning how the film how the film works. I'm still definitely making mistakes, and this is not coming out perfect, so take that with a grain of salt. Just I wanted to make sure that you guys know that and understand that before you watch my video and say, oh, I'm gonna watch this video to see how exactly to do this. I'm showing you how I do it, and I'm telling you right now that it's not 100% great. For me, it looks okay from a distance, but when you get right on top of it, of course, it's like that 5-foot rule, where it looks good from 5 feet away, but when you get right on top of it, you notice some things. It's not horrible. Like if it was really bad, I would just peel it. I would just rip it off, and then I would just get the window tint or the taillight covers. To me, and I am kind of picky when it comes to things, to me it's pretty acceptable. So that's the tutorial here. Here's how to apply window film and have it look acceptable, unless your standards are higher than mine, then at which case you're on your own. Maybe go watch a like CK Wraps or something. All right, so I've worked out some of the water from the flat edge, so I'm definitely starting from this nice fat flat edge here. That's the place I think that it makes the most sense to start, and I'm just kind of going over it and making sure that it's nice and flat. I'm trying to look for bubbles. I don't see any. Like I said, however, they seem to show up a little bit after. Once I start applying heat, they start to show up. That seems to be the case. But we'll see. I also like to get some of the water off of here. Obviously the water is not conducive to film sticking to something, so I kind of wipe away some of the excess water that I just had. Also, some of it will evaporate with the heat gun. But if there's a lot of water on there, I just like to clean some of it up. All right, so once we get all this in place, my next step is, you can see like there's a little bubble like right there, and that's still on the flat piece, so I'm just going to peel it away a little bit and kind of work that bubble out a little bit. Now there's more bubbles there. So as you see bubbles, you just got to peel it back up and try to work them out. That looks pretty decent. Now I'm going to start at the bottom here and just kind of wrap that over like so. All right, of course you're going to have some bubbles. You can work these out with the squeegee, or sometimes working with your thumb is pretty effective as well. So I kind of do that, and that kind of works pretty good. So, all right. Okay, so we got the bottom piece here down. The bottom bevel is pretty good and solid, but as you can see, like, you can tell when you're going to start having problems when you see these, like, these ridges, like these slopes, and it doesn't look even. So at that point, it's almost time for some heat, I think. Unless you can work them out without it. And you want to make sure that you don't push down in the middle of like one of these, like if the bubbles, they look kind of like mountainous, like little hills, that's, I think, where you need to start to be careful. You don't want to press down too much on them because you can wind up causing a crease. And even though they say, you know, applying heat, the creases will come out, sometimes they don't always completely come out, and you can still see them. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of heat here, not too much. And now I'm lifting it up and pulling that way. And that kind of helps with those. So as you can see, those hills that I kind of mentioned, the way it looks like hills, or hilly or kind of ridgy, they've been moved to over here. And eventually we can work those out as we get to the edge. But now we got some stuff up here to deal with. And again, just going slow. So one of the key components of working with this stuff is patience. And unfortunately, that's where I struggle a lot. I lose my patience with things like this, and I start to move too quickly. So if you're not a patient person, maybe this might be challenging for you. If you're up to a challenge and you're not a patient person, this is going to be certainly a challenge, because it's a slow process. And I'm putting this on the middle setting, not the high setting. So middle setting, just, or the low setting, I guess it would be, and just a little bit. Nothing crazy. I'm not heating it up for, you know, no more than just a few seconds. Okay, so that's looking pretty tough right there. But as you pull on it, so you kind of want to pull on it to make those ridges go away. And now we're getting close to the toughest part of this, and that would be this upper bevel, which is super tough. And that one I have not figured out yet how to get this to sit in there perfectly. What I've been doing is I get it to sit in there, and you know, people, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, we'll see. I put a relief cut like right here inside of that bevel, so that way it works out that bubble. And you know, I don't know long term if that's going to shrink down at all and eventually see taillight. I definitely know for sure when you put the taillights on, you can see the cut, but I think from far away, I'm not worried about that. So this is, but from here, you could kind of see it, but if I don't tell you it's there, you probably wouldn't notice it unless you know to look for it. So again, I'm heating this up. And we're gonna pull on it. And there's a pretty bad spot right there that I'm just gonna try and work out. Okay. Alright, more heat. So we're going to try to start working in that first corner. Okay, so you can see there I am making progress. Hit it with more heat. And try and work it in more. Definitely a slow process. Okay, getting there. So each time that I hit it, you know, you can see that I'm making a tiny bit of progress each time. All right, and so this is what I'm talking about as a tough part that I struggle with right there. That crease, I can't ever really get that to sit flat. So, and this is where, you know, this is where the relief cut kind of came into play, because as I was doing this a couple times, I started to notice that already, just by me working it, it started to split on its own. And maybe I'm not applying enough heat, I'm not sure, but it started to cut. You can see there that it's already splitting. So that's where I was like, okay, do you want, maybe I'll just cut it and see how that looks. So so I'm not going to do that yet, because I do want this to adhere a little bit better before I do that. All right, because if you have some pretty significant bubbles here, and then you cut it, it's probably going to break away more, and you'll be left with a big open spot. So try to get it as bubbleless as possible. I will always wind up having some sort of bubble there, and in fact, it's okay right now. I'm going to kind of just cut this and let that cut happen, or help that cut a little bit, because I'm gonna fold that over anyway. Sorry if it's tough to see. Now I'm just working the fold over. this time. Need to push that piece up the side and up in there. Actually, that piece could probably be cut. Okay, we're going to hit this a little bit more with heat on the edges, and we're going to just roll the edges over now. Alright, so here we're getting ready to work this part in now. So there's only a few little bubbles there. Let me see if I can show you a little bit better here. There you go. See how I have just a few little bubbles in there, and I'm just going to put a relief cut right on that seam, and those bubbles will disappear. I don't really know a better way of doing it, so because I can't get it to be perfect. And I'm just going to try and push it in a little bit before I do that. And I'm going to use this side of the squeegee and just lightly cut it. Okay. I don't press down too hard. I don't want to damage the tail light, but just enough to cut through the film. And now I'm going to work in the crease and just kind of all those pieces, all those bubbles are now gone, so I'll show you closer what it looks like. Again, from far away you can't really see it, but when you get close it's there. Alright, so there we go. So you could see the cut in it, but I'm fine with it. Okay, and here are those couple bubbles that I had right here. Alright, so what we'll do here is I'm just going to get my razor blade and just pop some holes in it. Hit it with the air. Or heat, I should say. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Good enough. I'm happy with that. So I'm not going to complain for an amateur doing window tint or doing tinting film. I am happy with the results. So it looks pretty good. So we got one more thing to do real quick, and so this is the film that I put on probably several weeks ago now, and I didn't do a relief cut on this one. And you know, I had this one pretty good and pretty perfect, but as you can see, it's bubbling up just like the original one that I had. So we're going to try and fix this and do the relief cut and see if we can make it look better. Alright, so we got it all pressed in. It doesn't look great, but we're going to do the relief cut now. Alright, so we'll see how that lasts. It looks okay, not great. Looks like maybe there was a little bit of damage to the film from it stretching, but you know, overall you come back here and it looks good, you know. So we'll see. Well, you know, I'm gonna let it sit like that for I don't know, however long. You know, if it starts to look bad, like I said, I'll just replace it. I'll take this tint off and just get covers. Till then, thanks for watching. Later.